Raider Nation, we got some huge news. The Raiders have signed former Pro Bowler from the New Orleans Saints, Andrus Peat. Now, this guy, he went to Stanford. He was a 13th overall pick by the Saints, and he's a three-time Pro Bowler between 2018 to 2020. Now, what I will say is he's on the wrong side of 30. He just turned 30 last year, and he's declined a little bit over the past few seasons. His PFF metrics, they've been below 50 the past 3 years, and they've gotten progressively worse and worse, and he's failed to stay healthy for the most part and play those 16, 17 games. And for those reasons, I don't really think he's going to be the starter at right tackle. That's where he's played most of his career with the New Orleans Saints. He protected Drew Brees on that side of the offensive line for a long time, but I don't think he's going to be our future right tackle. And I say that because we have a guy who I'm really high on in Thayer Munford, who, he came in as a rookie out of Ohio State a few years back as a seventh round pick. He wasn't even expected to make the team, but he showed a lot at camp and was able to make the roster. And he played in spots. He played against the Chargers a few years back and held his own against Khalil Mack. He played this year, in fact, on Christmas Day in place of Colton Miller when he was injured, and he was able to hold his own against the stout Kansas City defensive line. So I think Munford, he's a guy who, he puts in the work and he's shown that he's gotten better and better every year. And I think it's his time to take that next step and become our starter at the right tackle position because, he's shown, shout out Raider Films, he's high up there at Munford as well. And he's cited that, he's got quick hands and quick feet. So he's not going to get beat with speed. And, I don't think he's going to get beat with power anymore either. So I think Thayer Munford is going to be our guy at right tackle. But what I think Pete brings, I think it's important to have this guy as well because, I think what he brings is versatility on the offensive line because let's say Dylan Parham goes down or let's say JPJ goes down. We don't have the depth right now to go and I wouldn't feel comfortable with the depth that we have now. And with the addition of Pete, he has experience. He's played in huge games. So let's say Parham goes down, God forbid, this guy can slide in at left guard and you'd be fine because he has the experience and he's done it for a very long time. And I feel comfortable because he's done it at a high level for a long time. And I think what this signing means, it's not a huge signing just because this guy's not going to be a starter. But I think what this signifies is Telesco is maturing and he's learning from his mistakes in San Diego because it seems like with the Chargers, they had all these star players, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Joey Bosa, Mack. And despite all that, they never won. And that's because they never had depth. They had injuries to those guys, like Keenan Allen would get hurt, for example, and they wouldn't have a guy to go and step in place of those stars. And that's why their seasons would get derailed, time after time. And I think the reason why this is important is because, you know, I think with us, especially on the offensive line, we have some really good players, but we don't have depth. And with the addition of this, I think Telesco is learning from his mistake and saying, okay, if we have an injury, God forbid, we have guys who can go and step in, and it's not going to be a huge loss for us. Let's say it's Sunday Night Football against the New England Patriots. We have a star, Andrus Peat, to go in and slide in and play in place of someone. And so, we just signed Jalen Guyton as well, Michael Gallup. So let's say Devontae goes down or Jacoby Myers goes down. We have some solid veterans who can go and step in. And also, we retained Adam Butler, retained John Jenkins. So let's say Wilk goes down. You got guys who've done it for a long time. So we have depth. We're starting to get more depth on our roster, which is big. And I think Pete, he's about as good as a depth piece you can have as a three-time Pro Bowler. So I like the signing. I think it's a good move. We got to wait and see the money. I doubt it's more than like 2 or 3 million. But either way, great signing by Telesco, great signing by Antonio Pierce. And yeah, Raider Nation, we're gonna have you covered on this channel. Whatever moves the Raiders make when the 53-man roster's announced, training camps on the way, OTAs are on the way, and schedule predictions are on the way as well. So this channel's got you covered. But until then, Jahan signing off. Thank you guys.